Arrow, in my opinion, is one of the best superhero shows ever created and arguably amongst the best in live action shows. It started an entire universe much like Iron Man did in the MCU. In today's video, I will talk about the 10 episodes I think are the best in the show. And comment down below to let me know your 10 favorite episodes of Arrow as well.
You have failed this city.
Starting at number 10, I have Invasion. This is a crossover episode that involves other characters from their respective shows like The Flash and Supergirl and ties them into the story of this episode. But what makes this episode fall into my top 10 is how well they showed the life that Oliver wanted. The episode starts off with Oliver and Laurel being engaged to each other and also showing Oliver's parents alive and well. This episode explains no matter how bad Oliver wants to live a normal life, he knows he can and accepts it because the things that he went through turned him into the man and hero he is today. It's a heartfelt and one of the most creative episodes in the series.
We think we're in some sort of shared hallucination.
At number 9, I have Purgatory. This was the last episode before Crisis and the last episode where we see Oliver and Team Arrow. This was a very nostalgic episode in the series, and we see how much Oliver has grown since he first came to the island. It brings back characters like Yao Fei and Edward Fires, who were also with Oliver when he first arrived on the island. This episode gives Oliver one last mission to complete before his inevitable fate in Crisis. Having an episode where it ties back to the beginning, making the story come full circle, it's why this episode is in my top 10.
Thank you for letting me be a part of your story.
At number 8, I have the Slapside Redemption. This mid-season finale of season 7 was the best episode in the season. This episode focuses on Oliver in prison after the agreement he had with the FBI agent in the finale of season 6. Oliver is going to be released from prison in a few hours, but before that, Ricardo Diaz plans to make Oliver suffer before he gets released. So Oliver manages to escape from his cell and fight a few security guards on his way to escape. Diaz manages to take over the prison and a riot happens. This episode really showcases the rivalry and hatred Oliver and Diaz have for each other. While Oliver is escaping the prison, Ben Turner helps him along the way, getting a redemption arc and turning him into a better person. The action in this episode is one of the best in the series, with the intense prison riots making it even more intense, which also makes this a very great episode in the series. At number 7, I have The Climb. This is an episode where we see Oliver's journey to fighting Ra's al Ghul from the beginning of the episode all the way to the end of the episode. In the beginning of the episode, Nyssa tells Oliver to track down Sarah's killer in 2 days or innocent people in his city will die. This episode has a lot of twists and surprising elements in it, which makes it a very unpredictable episode. The main thing that was surprising in this episode is who killed Sarah. The reveal of who killed Sarah and how Oliver found out was a great plot twist in the story. Making Thea the killer of Sarah results in Oliver having to protect Thea from the League and having to fight Ra's at the end of the episode. The final scene with Oliver and Ra's is one of the best scenes in the series. The monologue Ra's gives Oliver is very memorable, as well as Oliver's death done perfectly well. At number 6, I have the finale of season 2, The Unthinkable. From a fantastic season and arguably the best season in the Arrowverse, this is a perfectly well-written episode, and it shows the growth of multiple characters in the show. Roy, a boy who lived in a very poor part of the city in the Glades and being in trouble with the law, to becoming a hero and being a part of Team Arrow. Quentin Lance, from hunting and hating the hood to working with him to help stop the attack on the city from Slade. And Oliver, struggling to choose either to save Slade or kill him, ties into what he does in the flashback on the island and shows his growth from the island. The character interactions and team up in this episode against Slade Army is very fun to watch. The transitions between the flashback and present fight scene with Oliver and Slade at the end are just amazing. The episode overall sums up the entire season well and ends the rivalry between Oliver and Slade perfectly. At the number 5 spot, I have the series finale, Fade Out. This episode did a great job of wrapping up the story of Oliver Queen. After his death in Crisis, this episode shows the aftermath of what happened and what changes were made to the multiverse. Oliver as Spectre changed some events that happened in the past and made the world a better place. He prevented multiple people in his life and connected other Earths into one. Before Oliver's memorial, Team Arrow had one last mission to do. When Oliver went back and changed certain events, he changed killing a man named John Byrne. Byrne kidnaps William and Mia saves him. The memorial of Oliver Queen is such an amazing send-off to his character, and the speech Quinlan gives about Oliver and how he respected him as a man shows you that even the characters in the story realize how far Oliver has come. The way everyone gathers up to honor his death, there couldn't have been a better way to close the story of Oliver Queen. At number 4, I have The Promise. This is the best episode of season 2. This is a very intense episode and gives us a closer look at the fallout of the relationship between Oliver and Slade and how their rivalry started. With Slade pulling up to the Queen Mansion and Oliver being defenseless with him, it shows you how intimidating of a villain Slade is, even when he's not Deathstroke, which what makes this episode ranked in at number 4. At number 3, I have the season 1 finale, Sacrifice. This is a very good episode with great storytelling and great acting. The Dark Archer known as Malcolm Merlin was a fantastic villain throughout season 1, and John Barrowman's performance in this episode was amazing. The scene where Tommy asks his father Malcolm about the undertaking and he yells at Tommy demonstrates how good of an actor John is.
You kill them all?
Yes! They deserve to die! All of them!
Also in this episode, Oliver learns what he is truly fighting for when Malcolm has him in his grip. This episode is also a very emotional episode as well. It has one of the most emotional deaths in the Arrowverse in Tommy Merlin. Tommy forgiving Oliver and making their relationship right before he dies is just heartbreaking. This episode without a doubt is the best episode in season 1 and really showcases how great the show started off. At the number 2 spot, I have Capuchon. This episode really showcases the range of Stephen Amell's acting and how great of an actor he truly is. When Oliver confesses his secret on why he kills and shouts it in Adrian's face, will give you goosebumps every time you watch it.
I wanted to! And I liked it!
This episode really highlights the rivalry these two have and the hatred Adrian has for Oliver. Adrian Chase breaking Oliver down from within is why he's the best villain in the show. It showcases the lengths Adrian is willing to go to make sure Oliver suffers. The episode I consider to be the best episode in the show at the number 1 spot is Lian Yu. There's not much to say about this episode, but it's just a phenomenal episode. The rivalry between Oliver and Adrian is at its all-time high, and the stakes of this episode are at its highest as well. The supporting characters like Slade and Merlin were great in this episode too. The flashbacks in this episode were done perfectly well, especially the scene with Oliver returning to Starling City, talking to his mom, telling her he's alive. It's a very emotional scene because you can feel the emotion through the screen as you're watching it. The ending of this episode is just perfect. Every second, it has you fully invested. It was also a very shocking and shows us that Oliver never truly beat Adrian, even after his surprising death. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the next video.